Hello everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph again. Okay, today's clip is something a little bit different. As you know, I love to talk about the entertainment news, so I thought we would talk a little bit about what's happening in the media. Well, one thing which I heard is that Zsa Zsa Gabor, the actress from Batman, you remember Batman? Was very famous in the 1960s. Zsa Zsa Gabor, who I think was a previous Miss Hungary, was in Batman. She's 99 years old now and has just been taken into hospital, and everyone's wondering if she's okay. Another thing is Don McLean, or Don McLean, as he's sometimes called in America, has pleaded not guilty to assault. Assault, as you know, is when someone hits another person with violence, and I think there's an accusation that he hit his wife. So that's not very good. That's not very good. Another thing in the news is that the man who wrote the Carry On movies, Norman Hudis, has died, aged 93. I don't know if you've ever seen the Carry On movies. He wrote the first 6 of them. The Carry On films are a series of movies which you can find anywhere, I think, on YouTube, different places. Because I don't think they were ever copyrighted or protected by law in the way that other movies are. Basically, they're a series of comedy sketches about different parts of history. It's typical English toilet humour, but if you like something funny and something easy to understand and something to laugh at without worrying too much about English, you can watch the Carry On movies. And the first 6 of them were written by Norman Hudis, who has just passed away. So that's very, very sad. Very sad indeed. The Carry On movies were something which I grew up with, and they always put a smile on my face when I hear about them. The strange things about the Carry On movies is that they were made in such a way that the actors were paid for their time, but the actors would never receive any royalties or any money for the repetition when the movies were repeated. So of course what happened was those movies were repeated daily on British television, and they still are, because no one had to pay any royalties, so they're very cheap to get and cheap to make and cheap to repeat. So the actors who were in the Carry On movies, many of them died without money. Many of them died penniless. There was one of them, her name was Joan Sim. She was a very famous English actress. But the Carry On movies gave her a certain figure, a certain character, and that typecasted her for future movies. It means that people only seen her in one way. They couldn't relate to her in other ways. And so she always ended up with the same parts, no matter what she did. That she always ended up doing the same things. And so she felt very restricted. Anyway, she was a wonderful actress. And she went to the head of the rank organization, to the manager, and she said, look, we made all these movies back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, and we got the money for them, and we signed the contract to say we'd never receive royalties, but please could you pay us something, because many of us have nothing. Anyway, the manager of the rank organization refused, even though he was a multi-millionaire, and Joan Sims died without family and without her money. So very sad, very sad. I mean, she had a good life and she lived with her mother, but it's a very interesting story. A very interesting story about the Carry On films. And another man in the Carry On films was Kenneth Williams. He was a voice actor, and a very good voice actor as well. The ones that Norman Hudis wrote, the names are Carry On Sergeant, Carry On Nurse, Carry On Teacher, Carry On Constable, Carry On Regardless, and Carry On Cruising. They were the old, I think, black and white ones, but the later ones in colour were equally funny. Probably a little bit more risque with the things that they tried to laugh about. So there we are. So that's the entertainment news for today, about Zsa Zsa Gabor, Norman Hudis, and of course today is Ash Wednesday as well, which is another big celebration in the English-speaking world. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll get back to our English soon. Thank you and goodbye.